Peace, peace, Black family. So, welcome to another episode of an in depth analysis where we take YouTube videos or just clips in general and then we break them up and analyze them from an African world view. So, the other day I was listening to an interview with Master P on The Breakfast Club, and something he said really sparked my attention.
For our people.
So how do we build more cultural trust amongst each other?
Well, I think the first thing about we got to hold each other accountable, and the ones that are not doing right, we have to shame them. I talked to an elderly lady yesterday. She said, "You know what? We need to start shaming the people that not doing right, so we could see them, because they're the problem. They keeping us away from everything."
And so, what Master P is relaying, what he's saying is something that's very deep and very fundamental in African culture. A lot of us may not know that before slavery, before colonization, before our introduction to the European or to the Arab or to the Eurasian in general, Africans did not have to physically discipline their children. The children were constantly brought up with the idea, with the principles that if I do something outside of my culture, if I do something negative in my village or my kingdom or my domain where my people are, and we come from generations of upright Africans, that can shame my family. So just the thought of Africans being shamed, the children would not do certain things. Now, introduce the Arab slave trade, introduce the European slave trade, and you see us being, and then introduce colonization to Africa. Then you see us being stripped of those principles and values. The idea that being shamed for doing something is way more powerful than physically having to hit somebody. See, the Europeans put that in place, the hitting and the beat. See, they had to beat our cultural values out of us, and then they taught us to beat our children. But before then, just shaming someone was very powerful in African culture. Just saying that's not right and that's not African, that's not how we live, was very powerful. But when someone's able to strip you of your cultural values, your VIPs, your values, interests, and principles, when they're able to take that away from you and then put those their values on top of you, then you don't care anything about being shamed. This is why I say the most dangerous Africans are those you cannot shame. The I don't give a fuck Africans, they're very dangerous. Because when they say they don't give a fuck, they really mean they don't give a fuck. Those Africans who cannot be shamed are very, very dangerous. Matter of fact, I know in certain parts of Gullah Geechee culture, they still practice this form of shaming. In the show Underground, there's a scene that they display this form of shaming.
You know who the father is? I only laid with your man one time. He don't want it. And even if he did, he ain't the father in type, no way. And what everybody go on say when they find out? They go on shame yourself, shame your father. Some of them good people, but some of them, they wait for something to bring the tabletop below it. Everybody won't help raise them. That's how they be. Talk bad about you, then help.
Who said he shame? Pick up. Who the father? The ancestor took your child for your sin, for his sin. Tell me, who lay with the on way? Pick down. Who the father? One belong to another. Pick down. Who the father? Who said he shame?
Daughter, me know this tradition feel harsh. But you're being shamed because you should feel shame. We should done disgrace all and we gonna help you carry this here burden. Speak so Una can be free. We ain't gonna give up on you. You tell we, and we gonna hear heal this here wound together.
Who said he shame?
Speak that.
Who the father? Ancestor took your child for your sin, for his sin. Tell we, who lay with thee on the way?
Speak. Speak now.
Who the father?
This is something that, you know, has been practiced for generations and generations, and the Gullah Geechee people still practice this, and they got this from Africa. Matter of fact, in my mother's culture, which is my culture as well, in Haitian culture, we have something, we have a saying, like a proverb that goes, "Ou sont passé en chien," right? Which means that you're more shameless than a dog. Now, to put this proverb in context, basically a dog comes around and smells a person's foot. And when the person becomes agitated with the dog, they might kick their foot, like, move. And so the dog will go away for a little while, but then eventually come back and smell the person's foot again. So basically the dog is shameless. The dog, you can't shame the dog because he's going to come back and smell your feet again. And basically the proverb means, you know, it says that basically you're more shameless than a dog. Like you have no shame. Like someone can do something to you and you will just come right back to them. You'll come smelling their feet again. Someone can do you any type of way and, you know, you would just accept it and you would go along with it. And so that's what the phrase "ou sont passé en chien" means basically in Haitian culture. It means you have no shame. You can't be shamed. Someone can do anything to you, and it doesn't make you feel. It doesn't make you feel want. It doesn't make you feel, you know, like less than. And you will apologize, and you would even end up apologizing for someone mistreating you. And so we have to understand that the cultural practices of shaming go hand in hand with our values as Africans. If you cannot be shamed, if you don't care what you do, I don't give a hell, I don't give a damn. That's just I don't give a F. That's not African. Because true Africans care. See, again, going back to what John Henry Clark teaches us, there was no term for prostitution because prostitution was not in Africa prior to colonization and slavery. Child molestation, these words don't exist. And again, if the words don't exist, that means the actions don't exist because Africans had pride. They would not want to be shamed for selling their body. They would not want to be shamed for raping someone, for killing someone. These things don't exist in African culture because just the mere fact of being shamed, being shunned in your community would have Africans not participate in that. It's not until we get introduced to the Europeans that where our shame is removed from us. Matter of fact, there's a popular meme, and basically the meme is a picture of a young boy holding his chest. And they talk about how if someone does something wrong in the community, that they will come together as a community and talk about all the good things that he has done within the community. That is African in nature. They're not beating him. They're not stabbing him. They're not whooping him. You know, it says in this African tribe, when someone does something wrong, they take the person to the center of the village where the tribe surrounds him, and for 2 days they say all the good things he has done. The tribe believes each person is good, but sometimes people make mistakes which are really a cry for help. They unite to reconnect him with his good nature. That's African. That's African as hell. That's who we are. A people of pride, dignity. We understand that concept. But when you're given European cultural values, when you're removed from your Africanness, that's not going to make sense to you. You're going to say, I don't give a damn. I do what I want to do. But shame comes from a social environment, right? Where you don't want to be as an African. You don't want someone to say, you know, or I'll give you a better example. Let me say this. I often say this. If you can't do it in front of your mother, If you can't do it in front of your grandmother and not feel embarrassed, then you shouldn't be doing it. Then you shouldn't be doing it. Certain things we have to really take in consideration. But then again, when the European strips you from who you are and what you are and give you their cultural values, their worldview, then of course no one's able to shame you. Of course no one's able to make you feel a certain type of way because you're thinking as an individual. You're thinking in terms of your best interests and not the community. And that's where shame comes from, because you don't want other people to look at you and say, I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? That's what shame is. That's what being want is all about. You know? So we have to look at things like that, as that being a cultural practice, as that being something that we need to culturally, bring back to our community. And even when people don't want to be shamed, we must cut them off. We got to learn to cut people off and say, you're not good for the community. You are too Eurocentric. You are too European minded. But anyway, until next time, family, share these videos, subscribe, share these videos, pass them out. I think the information is legit. That's what I just think. I don't know much. I only know what's been provided for me through the ancestors and through my own form of studying and through the elders. But I think the videos are pretty good. So, share the videos. But until next time, family, think black, stay black, love black, support black, and that's real African black power.